Alright, so for tonight's video, I'm wearing the first jersey I ever bought, which has finally been fixed by the wonderful lady next to me who probably doesn't want to be on camera right now. So, I've got a Colorado Rockies hat on and a Vancouver Canucks jersey. This is the old orange and gold. This is what dreams are made of before they went with red and yellow. Jerseys weren't meant to be red and yellow. The orange and it's a different yellow. I think it looks softer and it looks better, but that's just me. I was never a fan of the red and yellow. I thought it looked too cartoonish and Halloween-y, and really stressing the weenie part of that. But anyways, tonight's action, yes, my Bruins lost in overtime. I saw it coming. It's a bad matchup for Boston, man. This is a bad matchup. And Erik Karlsson is doing a Steve Yzerman. Yzerman, years and years ago, played on one leg and took a team to a Stanley Cup by his heart alone. And Karlsson's hurting. Karlsson is beat to shit. And we'll find out after either the Senators are knocked out or they win the Cup. We'll find out what's wrong with Karlsson. But he is putting them on his back and saying, well, injured or not, you guys are with me. And you guys are going as far as my body will hold out. And he is doing very well for himself. Other action, Calgary's slaughtering Anaheim tonight, although Anaheim scored with less than a minute left in the second. So that one's not over. Because nothing's ever over when it comes to the Ducks. Trust me, you think you got them down. They're like a cockroach. You're like, yeah, I heard the crack. It's dead, right? And you pick your foot and no, it's gone. And you realize that it's on your back, and then you can't sleep for the next week and a half. That's what the Ducks do. And I telling you, they're gonna knock Calgary out, and I have to change this likely champs bit. I can't leave Washington up that high. I'm at the very least going to put the Ducks at number 2. Apologies to Marcos. I'm sorry. I'll move Montreal up to 3rd because I hate them too. And Washington. The hockey gods hate me this year for the most part. And I'll move Boston down because Boston... And I'll move San Jose down, and I'll move the Rangers down, and I'll move Toronto up to 9th because they are ahead 2-1. So I can't justify not having them as high as 9th. And Nashville is beating Chicago the last time I saw. Let me just take another look here. Pretty sure they still are. Yeah, it's 2-1 in the third. It's not a runaway. Nashville does have a goal. But, yeah, Washington, Toronto, that game ended up going Toronto's way. I kind of felt like going into overtime it was probably Toronto's game. It's not like, it's funny, too, and again, about my Washington prediction, it's not like I'm upset when Washington loses. I'm not upset when Toronto's winning at all right now, because I would be very happy to see the Toronto Maple Leafs win a round, since all season I was talking about how good they were, and it'd be nice to see them get into the second round. But at any rate, and also not only that, but if Edmonton, Ottawa, Montreal, and Toronto all get into the second round, NBC loses their shit. Because there's a Canadian team in almost every series. The only series that would be All-American would probably be St. Louis and Nashville, and that does not garner national interest. It garners interest in Nashville and St. Louis, and not a lot anywhere else. NBC would lose tons of money on their TV deal right now. Their playoff ratings would just be garbage. So CBC goes way up. The Rogers Sportsnet ratings go way up. And the ratings in the States will just drop like a rock. They'll be non-existent if you have that many Canadian teams in the playoffs. If there's 4 out of 8, then yeah, they're going to be pissed off. So tomorrow night's games, there's only 3. So in terms of predictions, you guys only have to predict 3 games. Montreal's in New York against the Rangers. I think Montreal's got this. I do. I think Montreal's going to win again tomorrow. I think the Rangers are on the ropes, and I think Montreal's got this. Pittsburgh's in Columbus with Zach Werenski playing with a broken face. He officially is one of my all-time favorite players. Werenski is a kid that I think 4 or 5 years from now will be on one of these top 20 lists I do on flashcards. He has done quite a bit this year to prove himself in almost every game I've watched of Columbus's. And he's out for the rest of the playoffs, which probably means tomorrow night. I think Pittsburgh finishes it off. Pittsburgh is not a team that wastes chances to eliminate another team. That's why they win a lot. Edmonton's in San Jose. I think San Jose wins that one and evens it up. I think that series is going to be the most even of the series that are still going, that are going to be playing tomorrow night. All right, so again, as a standard rule, I will do the thread. You guys hit reply to that thread. I know I haven't posted standings yet, but I am keeping track of every day's standings, writing them all down by hand, updating them in a spreadsheet that I've got. And as the first round winds down, I will be sharing who the leaders are with you guys. There's somewhat of a separation going on. At the count I did yesterday, the highest total was 17 points, which I think is decent, considering these playoffs have been really, really hard to predict. One of the scores from yesterday's games, somebody got 10 points yesterday, which is impressive. Very impressive, actually. Because, again, you get 1 point for predicting the winner and 2 points for predicting by how much. So that's somebody who predicted all 4 winners, and 3 of them he got the goals spread right. So that's pretty impressive. And I double-checked the times and everything, and, yeah. While there were a couple of suspicious results in the first day or so of this, day or two, it's got a lot cleaner. And, yeah, it's going to be fun. So remember, you have to reply to my comment, because I'm not going to go through every comment, because there's tons of comments on these videos now. And I need to keep them all in a neat area so that it's really easy for me to go through and keep score and know who came in when. Because it also tracks in order. So I'm going from the first prediction right through to the last prediction. And when I get down to that last prediction and I go, that seems pretty spot on, that is a little, yeah. But anyways, there hasn't been a lot of that. I thank you guys for, playing this fairly. In a day and age where the internet is ruled by trolls, at least we've remained relatively troll-free. They seem to be staying under their bridges for us, which is nice. But thank you very much for being with me for this exciting 2-day weekend that turned to 3 days because I was sick this morning. I feel better now. I should be back at work tomorrow. So you're not going to get the early videos you got today unless I'm allowed to leave early tomorrow, but I'm not going to want to leave early tomorrow because I need to make money. I don't make enough money on YouTube to start skipping my work yet. Yeah, so this is fun. I watched as we as a group picked up about 50 newcomers over the last couple of days, and I'm excited with the growth that the channel's showing, and I thank you guys for being a part of it. Every share, every like, every comment, you guys are helping the channel grow. You're helping us get out there. I don't view this as just me sitting here talking about hockey. I like to see what I see in the comments when there's relatively 99% flame-free arguments. And I'm proud of that because I look at other channels and it's just a shit show. So we've got up to 4,000 subscribers, and I've still been able to help to cultivate an atmosphere where most of us get along, and if we don't, we can at least be respectful in the comments. So I thank you guys for that, and I'm very proud of that. And however big it grows from here, I will always do my best to make sure that there's respect. We can all have disagreements, but there's respect in there. And funny thing, I was listening to John Garrett commenting on the Calgary-Anaheim game. He had Washington and Chicago in the final. Johnny, you and I are in the exact same position. I'm wearing a jersey that he once wore. So John Garrett and I have this kinship tonight, and I feel good about that. I know John Garrett's a homer as an announcer. I know he's Canucks, but you know what? I'm fine with that. He's a solid announcer and seems like a really stand-up guy. If I had a choice of somebody to interview for the channel, if I was going to start doing interviews with people, John Garrett would be at the top of the list. He has so many hockey stories that I think all you'd have to do is just point a camera at him and ask a couple questions, and you're going to get an amazing story and an amazing bit out of him. So, yeah, he's always been one of my heroes ever since he was in the All-Star game instead of Richard Brodeur way back when. Brodeur got hurt. Garrett went in when he was a Canuck. And the other thing I like about Garrett is he doesn't pretend he was a great goalie. He admits, I was not a good goalie. There are other goaltending announcers who kind of play it off like, hey, I was great. Like, you can kind of get this impression like, hey, I was really great. This is what I would have done, and this is what I would have done. And you're sitting there thinking, you weren't any good in the NHL. And it's hard. I'm not talking about the one you guys think I am either. No, I'm not. This is not about Glenn Healy. No, I'm not picking on Glenn Healy right now. It's an easy target. But I've seen other announcers, and I listen to them berating other goaltenders, and it's like, wait a minute, you weren't a great goaltender in the NHL either. You can critique a goaltender. That's fine. And Garrett does it too. But don't talk as if I wouldn't have done that when I watched you in the 80s or the early 90s and you did that. So, it's one of those things that kind of bugs me, and I've never seen that with Garrett. I've never seen the arrogance and the attitude. So, this is a fun time of year, and it's nice to know that if my bracket's broken, so's Garrett's. We share that in common, and I share that in common with a lot of people. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. And the playoffs have been great this year already. I am absolutely, this might be the most fun I've had watching the playoffs in years, and you guys have a lot to do with that. Thank you very much. And the woman here, your name's Yvonne. Yvonne has a lot to do with it too. She has a lot to do with it because she actually watches hockey with me and doesn't ask stupid questions while watching the game. I've been with women who ask really stupid questions at the start of a game, and it's really frustrating. Especially when they're especially when they're pretending they're a fan. I've cheered for this team all year. Who's that? Our goalie? Thanks for coming out. Seriously, there were playoff years before this one when I was married the first time where by the end of a hockey game, I would be at the computer and not even be paying attention to what's going on TV because I was so tired of stupid questions. I couldn't do it. I was like, I'm gonna go over and see what's going on the internet, and then I wouldn't go back to the couch because I could not handle any more stupid questions. Or my favorite, which was, oh, I like him, he's good looking. It's not a reason to like a player. It's just not a reason to like. You don't like him because it's not. He's a bum. Like 9 times out of 10, if he's really cute, he's a bum, or he's Kessler. Either way. The hell? I've had to argue with more women over Ryan Kessler, and I'm really glad he's not in Vancouver because I'm tired of arguing about it. And I still have post-traumatic stress over it, apparently. So thank you for being with me for that, and I'll talk to you all again tomorrow.